I'm obligated by contract to end the week with something a little more fun, a little lighter. The world of streaming, the world of motion pictures, the Oscars, I think, are this weekend. Aren't they a great culture blaster? So, yeah, I I will bring him on now. He comes and goes on a rainbow. He's the wonderful culture blaster, Michael Snyder. And how are you, Michael?
So happy to see you back, Mark. I do have to say, shout out to the mighty Mo Kelly and the magnificent Ms. McAllister for picking up the slack on Friday of last week.
Yeah.
There have been conflicting rumors about your absence, though, Mark.
Oh, really?
I had it on good authority that you were auditioning for the new reality competition, Dancing Weatherman with the Stars.
Oh, yeah. I used to be many years ago a weather guy. Yeah.
After further investigation, I have concluded that you were in a deep sugar coma after one too many Sweet 106 cupcakes.
Sweet 106 cupcakes do it for me, baby. I'm in. I love it.
Mark, it's Friday the 13th, 2026.
Oh, that's right. My God.
Can an entire country walk under a ladder or break a mirror? It's kind of like what it feels like right now.
It does feel that way.
I do hope they take my design for the Donald Trump Presidential Library seriously to truly honor his career, personality, and intellectual acumen.
Yeah.
I proposed a rubber room with a play school see and say on a gold-plated podium. What do you think?
Oh, my God.
You know,
Don't
it's
talk
a
to me
winner.
that way.
Wow. That was
That was very inappropriate.
It's a winner, I'm telling you. All right,
right.
let's talk movies. You know, I'm going to bookend the film reviews with two horror movies because, you know, there's the high-end version, or relatively speaking, of the one that has more sophistication involved, and then there's the weird burlesque horror movie.
All right.
And in the middle, we'll have more serious stuff for more serious people. Let's lead it off with Undertone. And Undertone is a low-budget film, and I believe made in Canada, but it's done pretty well. And what it's about is a couple of hosts of a paranormal podcast get some tapes or audio tracks sent to them, and as they unspool them on the show, creepy things start happening.
Oh.
So, you know, it's atmosphere to spare. I really, the execution's kind of muddy, and there's kind of a non sequitur ending. The essentials are that there's a man and a woman on this audio track, and a man and a woman hosting this thing. And the movie focuses on
It's a
actress.
radio show they host or a podcast?
No, it's a podcast
Okay.
show, as I was saying. Although in your case, you do many different things
Okay,
along those
that's
lines.
fine. Go ahead.
This is podcast, dude. From the get-go, I mean, let's think about it. Podcasting is a demonic exercise in audience soul-sucking. It's happening all across the globe. Podcasts are omnipresent, and I think bad for your health. And this movie kind of proves it. They're listening to these audio tapes of a man and a woman, and the woman is increasingly freaking out. And as this is happening, the hostess of the show, again played by Nina Kiri, is going through some serious trouble of her own. She's housebound because her mother is upstairs in bed, seemingly on the edge of death, and she's, you know, kind of catering to her mom. And while this specter of death hovers over the entire enterprise, the woman is obviously having some issues. And every audio tape makes things crazier and crazier, to the point where when you get to the last of them, you know, it's kind of the culmination of all this tension that's built. You know, the non sequitur ending, I got to say, it lessens this, but the sound design and the camera work are superb. There's kind of a wonky demonic mythology that unfurls over the course of the audio tracks that they're listening to. And this is kind of filmmaking for 2026. Minimal budget, single location, this one house, done to great effect. The problems with Undertone are, other than this kind of occasionally wonky mythology that they're building about a child snatching female demon, this doesn't break new ground, and its payoff isn't as powerful as it should be. But despite its flaws, it's a promising debut for the director and screenwriter Ian Tuason. And again, Nina Kiri as the focal point of the movie, playing Evie, is damn good. It's like a show reel that lasts for 90 minutes. And it's,
So with some qualifications, you like it. Moving on, Mr. Snyder.
yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to something that people in our audience may like. It's called Reminders of Him, and it's a romantic drama, and it's the latest movie adaptation of a kind of your typically angsty middlebrow romance novel by Colleen Hoover, after It Ends With Us and Regretting You, both of which were made into feature films, neither of which I was crazy about. And I'm a little more into this to some extent. And again, a lot of it is performance based. And the situation is a young woman named Kenna returns to her Wyoming hometown after a stint in prison, and something awful has happened, and it's addressed very, very early in the movie. And while back, she runs into the best friend of her, okay, I'll blow it, her late boyfriend, and he has become kind of a father figure to the daughter she had with the late boyfriend. And the parents of the late boyfriend don't take too kindly to the return of Kenna, and she's desperate to kind of reconnect with this child of hers who was taken from her after a prison birth. So it's got a little gravitas and a little bit of weight. And I have to say that Micah Monroe, who was very, very good in the Nick Cage horror film Longlegs, and she was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, she is wonderful as Kenna. And talk about supporting players. The best friend, who's still living in the same Wyoming town and is a former NFL player who has his own little bar that he's developed, is played by Tyreek Withers, who was very good in Him, which he was the best thing about the movie Him. And they have this kind of romantic connection, and you know things are going to be problematic. Vanessa Caswell does well with what she's been given. The screen play was co-written by Colleen Hoover, so it's what she wanted, the original novelist.
The writer.
And the ex or late boyfriend's mom and dad are played by Lauren Graham and Bradley Whitford. So you have acting firepower. So for what it is, I think it does a good job, and largely on the strength of Micah Monroe's performances alongside, over the course of the movie, alongside Withers, and also obviously Lauren Graham and Bradley Whitford. I give it a tentative okay for this type of film. It is opening wide today, as is, by the way, Undertone, which is, again, a little film, for a horror movie that's opening wide. Wow. They went to a lot of different outlets. Now, something a little more my speed than these previous films, and not totally successful, but still incredibly cool and kind of relevant, is Slanted, which is a movie that was written and directed by Amy Wang, and it's essentially The Substance meets Carrie meets Mean Girls meets an earnest look at the pros and cons of cultural assimilation. A young Asian woman who lives in America, came here as a child, was raised by her mom and dad, who are Chinese. Joan Huang is in her teens now, and she's kind of fixated on the beauty of the queen bees and the local clique in her high school, who are all blonde and pretty and incredibly Caucasian. And she would like to be like them. She wants to become the prom queen. And she stumbles upon a process and a company that oversees this process that can actually change your race over the course of a session. And so she decides to undergo this conversion. And in the process, the actress who plays her, who is, she's rather good in this thing, she becomes McKenna Grace. And that's kind of fascinating, when you think about it. But I have to say that none of the descriptions I gave, meaning the elements that kind of congeal to make this movie, pointing them out shouldn't be considered a slam. There are some obvious moments and obvious takes, but it's funny, and its take on race and how it informs young people and their lives and growing up in America is very valid. There's a lot of energy here, and there are no easy answers or a pretty bow wrapping it up.
Really?
And I thought it was actually...
She doesn't realize, like Dorothy did, that she was at home in her original race all along?
Well, I don't want to go that far. I do want to say that it doesn't end in a simplistic manner, and I kind of enjoyed what they did with it. I thought it was audacious in a way, and I thought that it was funny. It's a comedy and it has science fictional elements, and it has this drama about assimilation. So I thought it was pretty damn good, considering. It's
called Slanted, and it is in wide release.
No, it's in
theaters. It's selected.
Yeah, I hope your theater is selected, as they say.
All right. What's next? Culture Master.
There's a a kind of a thriller, and I want to bring a personal note to this. I believe this is the last movie with James Van Der Beek, who a lot of people know from Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek, and who was incredibly funny playing himself in the sitcom Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. I was like, wow, this is great. And I met him a couple times, and he was a pretty cool guy, and he died way too young and fairly recently. And I believe The Gates is his final performance. And in The Gates, 3 college kids, all black, they're trying to get to a party, and they want to take a shortcut because there's a traffic jam and they have to go through a gated community. And once they get in, they find that they are the antithesis of everyone in the gated community, which is led by kind of a smooth talking but ultimately creepy pastor played by Van Der Beek. The college kids are played by Mason Gooding, who was in Booksmart and Heart Eyes. He's kind of the main guy. He's this, kind of clever guy. Algie Smith, who's the sort of wannabe gangster, and Keith Powers, who is a college athlete who has an injury and wants to hold on to his scholarship. So they're in this situation and they witness a murder. And now they're trying to get the hell out of the gated community. And so there's I wouldn't call it a ticking clock, but, if they are found by the authorities and anybody fails to believe them, they're in big trouble. So The Gates actually has a little tension. It's not a great film, but it's done in a very professional style, and it's very well directed in that regard, written and directed by John Burr, and the actors are very, very good. It's not great, but it's good of kind. It's in select theaters. And again, it's called The Gates, and it's the last performance by James Van Der Beek, and, he plays a pretty convincing creepazoid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So moving on to something that I had such high hopes for, and I enjoyed to an extent, Bank of Dave 2, The Lone Ranger. So this is another feel-good movie about ordinary Brits doing relatively extraordinary things. Think of The Full Monty, for example. It kind of based on a real thing, and they kind of pump it up, and it's sort of somewhat fictionalized, but it's got a basis in reality. And this is about the speaking of bold, Dave Fishwick, a guy who sells vans in the kind of charming sort of middle-class town of Burnley. And it's not a place that's economically secure anymore. The coal mines have gone down, factories have closed. And so he decides to start a bank, his own bank. And if you saw the initial film, Bank of Dave, again, based on this true story of Dave Fishwick, this tale and his deal. And he's very inspiring on one level. And he's played by the great British actor, and he's incredibly versatile, Rory Kinnear. And he returns in this sequel, which is based on something that happened after Fishwick established the Bank of Dave successfully and fought the British banking monolith to get his own personal banking situation going. He decides that he's going to take on the payday loan companies who have basically stolen money from those who have come to them for loans by initiating massive
fees,
penalties and such. And so he decides to take them on. So Kinnear's back as Fishwick. Joe Hartley's back as his wife, Nikki. And also returning is Dave's aristocratic nemesis from the first movie, played by Hugh Bonneville, Lord Grantham himself. And also Dave's favorite classic rock band, who was kind of part of the first film, and they're back again, Def Leppard. So again, this is based on true events. It's somewhat true. And it feels a little hashed over after what we saw in Bank of Dave. It has very similar story beats.
Mobius says that I love the first Bank of Dave.
I did as well. And guess who's back? The director of the first one, Chris Fogan, and the same screenwriter, Piers Ashworth, who's very much at home with these British true story comedies, having done Fisherman's Friends and a few others. And despite the good intentions and talent, it does feel like a retread with none of the or very little of the verb of the first movie, and a little too much sentimentality. They bring Chrissy Metz from This Is Us and The Hunting Wives in as an American journalist who wants to uncover all the bad things that the payday loan companies have been doing. And she has a bit of a romance with a Burnley local. I can't diss it. Not terrible is the
Not terrible. You oftentimes end up in that space.
is the short review, and again,
great,
it means
Culture Blaster.
it means well. It does mean well. It is in fact only available on streaming, but if you like the first one, it's pleasant. That's the best
What
I
else do you have for us, Culture Blasters? Our time has almost run out.
Okay, I like comedy when it's done well. I like horror when it's done well, and I like a horror comedy when it's done well. And I have to say that Scared to Death is not terrible. And I mean, it's a little more low budget and cheesy looking than Undertone. And consider that Undertone was done in one location, and this seems like more low budget. So it's actually, as an Angelino, you'll like the fact that it is set in Altadena at a rundown former orphanage that is going to be the site of a film shoot. So you have Hollywood parody coming into this thing. You have the horror aspects of it when the crew decides they want to throw a seance to get the feel for the film in this rundown former orphanage. And of course, the news headlines from 50, 60 years ago surface. 5 orphans die of fright in this location. And are there ghosts still there? Anyway, one of the best things about this movie is that one of my favorite horror actors, the always hilarious Lynn Shay, who's been in various franchises, including the Conjuring franchise, I think. I don't know. She's been in a number of things. She first came to my attention playing the oversexed granny character in Kingpin. You may recollect her. She was hilarious. Lynn Shay is a veteran actress, good at horror, good at comedy, and so she was a good pick here to play the angry director of this, who thinks this horror film she's going to direct is beneath her. There's also a longtime horror icon named, God, what do they call this guy? The Grog. He's made a zillion horror films, and he's going to be the main focus of the one that they're shooting. And of course, once they try to do the seance, things go horribly wrong. I wish it was funnier. I mean, clearly they knew what they wanted to do. They have horror former Scream Queen Lucinda Jenny playing a small role in this thing. Ray Dawn Chong plays a character in this as well. And again, it's really all on the wonderful Lynn Shay, who will do anything for a laugh and anything for a fright. And I think from that standpoint, yay. The director and screenwriter Paul Boyd comes from shooting music videos. This is not great, but this is also like, as time wasters go, you could do worse.
Comedy horror, where is it? The Scared to Death.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it playing?
I mean, it's not playing in a theater near you.
Well, where is it? Is it streaming? Where is it?
It is available in select theaters across our
Okay, so the Culture Blaster likes Scared to Death. Not bad, is what he's saying.
No, not bad.
Set in a rundown former orphanage, a comedy horror offering.
They actually had, for critics, a tour of that building in
cool.
Altadena if we wanted to come by.
Oh, you didn't do it?
No, I had other things to do.
The Gates is the James Vanderbeek finale, his last movie. They witness a murder. They have to get out of the area before the cops arrive. There's a sense of tension. Kind of works. He said he's not crazy for it, but he's not bad. And James Vanderbeek is very good.
Yeah, the 3 college kids, the black college kids in a largely white gated community. Trouble.
And so that is in select theaters?
Yes.
Slanted, written and directed by who wrote and directed?
Amy Wong.
Yeah. And it's about a young Asian woman who came to America raised by her Chinese parents. She wants to be a prom queen. She wants to be Angloed, really, is what she wants.
And she does substance style.
She goes through a conversion that is offered. It's audacious as material goes, and it's funny. I'm intrigued by Slanted. It's available to those of us who want to seek it out in select theaters.
And the young actress who plays the initial version of the teen, Shirley Chen, I should have ID'd her earlier. She's very good in this. But, it becomes McKenna Grace's show as this, kind of anglicized version of the girl.
Slanted is in select theaters. Reminders of Him is the romantic drama. A young woman returning to her hometown after a stint in prison. And she runs into the best friend of her late boyfriend.
And sparks fly.
Well, who is the woman who plays the lead?
Micah Monroe.
Micah Monroe. She's wonderful, Michael says. Tyreek Withers. He liked Tyreek Withers in this. Based on a book by Colleen Hoover, he liked reminders of him. Didn't love it, but he liked it.
For what it is, yeah.
Undertone is where we started. It's the podcasters and the paranormal podcast. They have audio tapes that they're listening to. He says the sound design, the camera work, the minimal filmmaking, it's very of the time now. It doesn't break any new ground, but he does like it. Undertone is available where?
It's available in theaters all across our great nation. And I want to point out one more note.
Yeah.
It does get heavily creepy. The camera work and the sound design do a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Wow.
But I don't want to downgrade Nina Curie, who is the focal point of the entire endeavor.
Wow. Well, Culture Blaster, you've left us with many options for this wonderful weekend. Have any final thoughts, Culture Blaster?
I'm excited to see my friends in the Fantastic Fellinis, who are playing tomorrow night in the Los Angeles area. And to be more specific, there are a lot of art openings. KP Projects is
all right.
opening.
All right,
stuff,
Michael, settle down. We know you're a sophisticate. Tammy says you didn't announce Melania is now available on Prime.
I actually,
I blame you.
All right. Well.
You know those things where you can prevent children from accessing aspects of the internet or cable television? I think they got to put something like that available for this abomination.
Well, I am impressed by Snyder. Is Snyder going to give us some of his picks for the Academy Awards? Asked Randy. I'm guessing he doesn't like the Academy Awards because Academy Awards is comparing art, which makes no sense. How can you do this? How can you award one thing better than another? Is that what your position is, Culture Blaster?
Apples and oranges, I like them both, and I don't think it's a fair comparison. Although, again, as many point out, you can put peanut butter on an apple, and you cannot put it on an orange.
How did the Academy Awards start? Oh, Culture Blaster. Do you know the answer to that?
In a small garage.
Yeah, but how did it start? Why did it start, Culture Blaster? Don't mock me.
They are attempting to publicize movies.
That's exactly right. They were doing it as a publicity
get the
effort.
People's butts into seats.
Yeah,
it's always the case.
That's exactly right.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
No, it was actually to be a celebration of movies and to get people into the seats as the cultural. And then it's turned into this incredible event. It used to only be 20 minutes. Right. I mean, many, many years ago when it first started. And then it got, more and more attention as the networks dominated and it got network television coverage and then there's the red carpet and it became big business.
And a self-congratulatory wank fest. Don't forget that.
But I have to say, it did put asses in the seats. That's why it did work, the Academy Awards. But it's utterly ridiculous to compare movies and to compare performances.
That
it just
said,
is.
People want a little forecasting. Here's a little something. Yeah. I expect that Sinners and One Battle After Another are going to win a number of awards.
Who wins Best Actor? The lead in Sinners or the lead in the Chalamet movie, the Mr. Bean or whatever it's called.
Mr. Bean.
What's it called?
What's the Chalamet movie?
The ping pong
Marty
movie.
Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
No, he does not win.
He doesn't win.
I think Michael B. Jordan. I don't want to. I'm no prognosticator. I hate this stuff, but I will say that'll get some attention. And
will Michael B. Jordan win as Best Actor? I'll ask Mr. Predicto since you seem reluctant to make a prediction. We'll ask Mr. Predicto. Will Michael B. Jordan win Best Actor?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Sure. All right. And that is a done deal.
I think Chalamet is too much of a, shall I use the phrase, a-hole to really win a lot of votes.
He's super talented, though. He's a talented a-hole. All right.
He is.
Culture Blaster, you're great. Find Michael on this show on Fridays, but on the voicesf.org.
Yeah.
voicesf.org. He shares his written musings.
I'm elbow to elbow with our pal John, the Wednesday whirlwind.
John Rothman, yeah. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Culture Blaster.
See you next week, everybody.
Yeah. Wow.